Hey guys, good evening. Tony Pesha with Ruth Mayne here tonight, coming to you live. I am in New York City and Ruth is in Washington State. Ruth, how you doing tonight?
I am awesome. I had an awesome weekend. Got to visit with my daughter and meet her new boyfriend, and if I can call him that, and she might be watching this. And spending time with family is always a blast, and we're just moving forward on getting a house here locally, because this is where we're going to plant ourselves now in Washington for a while. And it was just a good weekend. Went and a friend called and needed some help. Don't have a job, was able to go help. That's what
Absolutely.
it's all about. And what about you? You were just showing me
Well,
some beautiful pictures.
I am absolutely excited, Ruth. Yeah, what's going on with the relationship that we have established and what's ahead of us as far as the friendship and building the business worldwide. It's amazing how things do happen. And I remember my mentor was always telling me that things don't just, happen that you decide this is what's going to happen tomorrow morning. It's like, yeah, I'm going to wake up in the morning, I'm going to stretch my arms, and you're going to say, I'm going to become a professional network marketer. Well, you know what? It doesn't happen that way.
Yeah.
It's amazing that, certain things just do happen for certain reasons. And before you know it, your life kind of looks different. And if you do pursue it, if you do take action, it can absolutely change your life for better. So guys, tonight we're going to be talking about the opportunity that has already changed thousands and thousands of lives worldwide and absolutely can do it for you as well. However, I don't know if this is going to be for you. Are you finding yourself at the right time in your life to pursue the opportunity, or you are finding yourself in such a way that tomorrow morning you're going to wake up again and you're going to bitch about the work that you do, but you're going to do nothing about it. Guys, action is very important. And being at the right place at the right time, with the right opportunity, with the right people, it will not be coming to you every single day. So when the opportunity do come, pay attention. Ruth, I do like to start these calls as we usually do. If you can pretty much tell us a little bit about yourself. And I think your story is really amazing. And what happened to you and how did you handle it? And how did you go about it in the future, looking forward to change your life? So if you don't mind, just tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to be telling the audience how they can benefit from this opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, this is a great segue because, you were talking when we first started about you don't wake up one morning and say, I aspire to be a network marketer. That was the furthest thing from my mind growing up. I grew up on a farm. I'm the oldest of 4 kids. My mom always had extra kids around the house that my mom used to kid other people's families collect animals. We collected kids. So we had a lot of kids living with us on and off, but were having trouble and whatnot. And so I was exposed to underprivileged children my whole life and being able to help them. And that was something my mom instilled in us as well. But we grew up on a farm. So, hard work is the theme of the day, every day on a farm. You don't get a vacation. The cows have to be milked twice a day. The animals have to eat. The garden has to be weeded. There was just always something to do. But I loved my life. And my mom just always instilled in us, from as long as I can remember, that we could be anything we wanted to be, that we could do and accomplish anything that we wanted to accomplish. And she really instilled in us the art, and I say the art of dreaming, because that's gone. At least in the United States, it's gone. We have a society full of people that I don't know if they're just so desperate or they are so closed-minded that they don't feel or know how to dream about better things in their life. And for a little bit of that, some people just think everything should be handed to them. And you and I both know that is not how life works. So, you know, I just always had somebody behind me pushing me. And I graduated high school at 15 and a half. I was accepted to college. I wanted to become a vet. And then I quit college to get married. Mistake. You know, should have stayed in college. But everything happens for a reason. And some great things happened in my life. And then just like all of you out there, you know, some not so great things happened. And I've had some wonderful jobs in my life. I was one of the very first female deep sea commercial divers, had a blast, traveled all around the world, commercial diving, just, it trips my trigger to even think about it. I mean, it was that fun. I've never had the typical, you know, girl job, secretary, you know, that kind of thing. And I don't like to categorize, but that's what it is. And I was just going about my life. And I was at the hydroplane races in Seattle one day as a diver, rescue diver, and my pager went off because we didn't have cell phones yet. My pager went off and it said 911. So they had to take me into shore so that I could go to a pay phone so that I could call and find out what was going on. And I was told that my oldest daughter, who was 13, had fallen off of our swing and was in a coma. She was rushed, airlifted to Harborview in Seattle from where we lived in Silverdale. And it was grave that I needed to get there immediately. You know, I was in Seattle already because I was at the hydroplane races. So it didn't take them long to get me to the hospital. I don't remember much except they allowed me to see Melissa for just a few minutes before they rushed her in for brain surgery. And she laid in a coma for 2 months and 2 days. And I remember sitting on the 9th floor of Harborview Hospital that night and calling my boss at George. And I said, George, I'm going to need a few days off. And he says, well, why? You know, and he immediately got upset. And I said, well, my daughter just had a massive head injury. He goes, well, how long do you think you're going to need off? And I said, gee, George, I don't know. My daughter's having brain surgery right now. And I hung up the phone. And I've never talked to him again to this day. He fired me behind my back. You know, I understand he had a business to run. He had to fill my position. I get it. And so I was getting back into life and getting my daughter through rehab. She came out of the coma one day, and it was the only day in 2 months that I had left the hospital. The nurses said, you know, she's stable. Why don't you go home, see your younger daughter, you know, just spend some time. It was a 2-hour drive home. I no sooner got home and I got a call that my daughter was waking up. I was on the freeway speeding back on I-5 to Harborview Hospital, and I got pulled over. And I told the state patrolman what was going on, and they gave me an escort all the way up to the hospital. And I'll never forget that. And I got there, and she woke up, and then we started the rehab. And 2 years and 2 days later, my then 5-year-old was diagnosed with cancer. And I was just like, you know, God, what am I going to do? You know, I can't work. My marriage had broken up by this time. It was just, my life was by all accounts in a shambles. But you said something very important when we first started here. No one wakes up to aspire to be a network marketer. I had dabbled in network marketing because, like you and probably like a lot of people, I found out that my job was paying me well, but I had no time. And I was on call 24 hours a day, 4 days a week with the police department. So I you know, it was like, what do you do? And I dabbled in network marketing. And then my youngest was diagnosed with cancer. I had one on the 3rd floor, one on the 4th floor. I didn't know if I was coming or going. I went through all my savings. I sold everything, just about everything I ever owned, put everything in storage that I had left, and didn't know what I was going to do. And then I got invited to a meeting, and it was in Everett, Washington. I didn't have the money to go, so I wrote a check, bad check, for gas, and I wrote a check, bad check, to get on the ferry. And then they let me in the meeting for free. And there was only 5 of us there, only 5 people. And you know, when you go to a meeting, a network marketing meeting, just because there's not 200 people in the room does not mean it's not a powerful, powerful meeting. Because all 5 people that were in that meeting over the next 2 years became millionaires. That's how powerful that meeting was. And it was apropos. I mean, it was mind-blowing. I didn't have the money to get into this business. So I used my child support. And I just thought, oh, Lord, please let this work out. And the first month I made $800. And you would have thought I hit the lotto. Honestly, Tony, I hadn't seen $800. And this is back a long time ago. And then the next month I made $15,000.
Wow.
And quite honestly, I did the dance that nobody wants to see but you on my bed. I just was so ecstatic that $15,000, what was I going to do with that? From that point on, I was just sold. You know, my money kept doubling. I was working hard. I was making calls from the hospital, from my car, from everywhere at that point. And I couldn't get enough of it. And I built a very, very large group, had a blast, just had a blast, traveled, was able to take care of my kids, was able to climb out of debt. You want to talk about stories of bill collectors? I have got some doozies, let me tell you. But the point of all that is just to say to everybody, I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. And people look at me now and they say, yeah, but you're good at this, or you're good at that, or you've made a lot of money doing this. Guys, I put my pants on the same way you do. You know, and maybe it's really good that right now I'm in my RV, that I'm not in a $1 million home. I drive a nice car. I like having a nice car, but I don't own, you know, a Maserati or, you know, my favorite car in the world, a Pantera. There are a lot of reasons for that. Number one, they're not practical. But number two, I'd rather spend my money on other things that are important to me. Not to say anybody shouldn't own a fast car, but you know, people need to be able to relate to, is this person for real? I will tell you unequivocally, for those of you watching live tonight, and for those of you that are going to be watching the recorded version of this, if Ruth Mayne from Silverdale, Washington, can become successful in a home-based business, every single person out there can. Every single person out there can. Tony Pesha is another example. You know, this man came here from what many consider a third world country. He didn't speak a lick of English. You think my story sounds sad? My story is really no different than a lot of people's. You know, I had to file bankruptcy because of a $3.1 million in medical debt. And I got to the point where, okay, do I file bankruptcy? Do I not file bankruptcy? Do I file bankruptcy? Went and filed and then rescinded that and said, no, I can't do that. And it just, everything in you pushes you to do something better when you get to that point. My story for you tonight is, don't let your life get to that point. You know, be a Tony Pesha. Americans tend to sit on our duffs until our life is so miserable that we have to change. And it's not just Americans. I'm not trying to profile or anything, but Americans tend to have a much cozier life than a lot of other countries. And we tend to be lazy, let's face it. And Canadians too, you know, you guys in Canada, you're right along in there with us. Don't let your life pass you by. Don't let adversity get the best of you, because there's always a way out. I found a way out in home-based business. Tony's here finding a way out of a very, very, very successful career. He just showed me 2 more homes that he owns. I'm like, how many homes do you own? You know, he's extremely successful. And what is great about home-based business is that we attract people from all walks of life. The girl that grew up on the farm, that even to this day, you can take the girl out of the farm, but you can't take the farm out of the girl. To gentlemen like Tony that came to this country with no money, not speaking the language, and has become extremely successful. And then everybody in between. So what we want to share with you tonight is why we think this company is why you should get moving. You know, and I'm going to say this too, in complete honesty. If you don't like what we're going to show you tonight, I understand that. Some products click with people and some products don't. We happen to believe and can prove to you that this is one of the best opportunities out there. But if you're a person that doesn't like our product, don't stop looking. Find something that is going to get you out of the circumstances that you're in now in direct sales, because it's the only way out. A job is not going to get you there, folks. If you, God forbid, if you have something happen to your children like I did mine, believe me, your boss is not going to hold your job for you. They don't care. They may like you, but they don't care. They have a business to run. And so with that, Tony, let's get on and talk about what we have to offer tonight.
Absolutely. I mean, Ruth, the one thing that I want to say that a lot of people do certain things was, I mean, they kind of look at the comfort zone. That's the word that I'm looking for.
Yep.
Being comfortable in the situation that you are, majority of the people, they might not be even comfortable, but they kind of get used to a situation of that it becomes repeatedly duplicatable every single day, getting up in the morning at the same time, making their coffee, getting ready to go for, for a ride or take a train and come to work at 7 o'clock or 9 o'clock. And then it's kind of easier. I really want to touch on this. And the reason that I think it's important for us to really hear this factor of so-called success, which is has to be measured in a certain type of a success job, right? Is that once we do something over and over and over again, we kind of are becoming that specific action. And we might not going to like it. We might not, say that we have, we don't really like our job, but we do it anyway because the circumstances and the life that it's around us kind of fits into that. And we are having the trouble of changing that because it's not that we don't want to change. It's just the way our brain operates is that we hear it. We know that it's not good enough, but we're still not going to do it. And I believe strongly, Ruth, that only way that we're going to do something about it is two different reasons. One is that you mentioned before, that we have to be pushed to the limit. And then there is only one way to go up or down. There's no sideways anymore.
That's right.
But if you want to change something, you're going to have to do something about it. Or you're just going to tell yourself and brainwash yourself, maybe for a couple of months, maybe for a couple of years, of constantly saying it, I will do it, I will do it, I will do it. And then visualize what you want. I mean, literally, before going to sleep and going into that deep sleep, just think about it. What do you want to do tomorrow? How wonderful would be that you don't have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, that you can get up at 7 o'clock, have a coffee, and then sitting at your dining room table, think about it. What do you really want to do today? Where do you want to go? How much money do you want to spend? Where do you want to go shopping? Or where do you want to take your family? Or what do you want to cook for your family without having the pressure of coming back and doing that in 20 minutes?
Yep.
So brainwashing yourself to the limit of saying it, this is what I want to do. Now, granted, what we want to do, it's all different ways of having fun, going different places, travel to different destinations, having the different type of a fun, if it's a bungee jumping or whether if it's a skiing or whether if it's racing cars, whatever that is. But one thing in common that we have is that for all of that, you need money. So really, realistically, you need to ask yourself, how do I get to that bigger amount? And the one thing that you mentioned, Ruth, is that by earning money, it's not going to happen likely versus making money, that something can be done with or without you being there. So making money and earning money is two different things. And I hear it, often from people when they, the tax time comes around, they say, how much money did you make this year? Well, and they say the number, and I'm saying to myself, no, you did not make that money. You earned that money. You earned it. You were exchanging time for X amount of dollars, gross sales volume, and that's what you got. So you did not make money. And then most of the people, what they say, well, I don't have time to make money. I don't have time to go for anything extra, or I don't have enough money to go for the business. And this is where the beautiful thing comes in, guys, that network marketing will allow you to start with a little bit, and it will give you a chance to grow into something enormous. And you probably not going to even know where is it going to go, because once you start that wheel rolling, you don't know where is it going to end up. And you needed two things. In my book, Ruth, I like to say that we need to find the company, we need to find the product, and we need to get into the process of duplication. We need to duplicate ourselves. We need to leverage our effort. And the effort is very simple. Very simple. Use the product, as we have the product here that we're using in our opportunity here, and then share your story. Use the product and share your story. That is your leverage. And guys, if you think that this is a joke, then Ruth, we're not going to mention numbers, but we know that this, and you are pure example, that this can go into hundreds or thousands of dollars earning on monthly basis. Now, is everybody going to do that? Absolutely not. But those that they are really believing that this is a powerful way of building the empire, the chances, I believe, are much greater that you can develop something that it's not going to be just beneficial for you, but it's going to be beneficial for the generations that are going to come after you. That's what's so amazing to me, Ruth, that you can actually have two things at the same time that are so crucial for having life. And that is excluding the health. Without the health, we are nothing. Excluding the health, that's a time and money. Money and time. To have the money and to have the time to enjoy that. And most of the people that are in the...
Give a perfect example.
Right
before we went live, you were showing me some beautiful homes that you have built and own in your native country of Croatia. What did you say to me? I don't know if you're going to remember this.
Of course I do.
What did you say to me?
I said, straight out, I was talking to Ruth, certain things that we have in Croatia. And I said, what's so good about it if I don't have time to enjoy that?
Yep.
I cannot go there anytime that I want to go. Yep. And it's in a beautiful place. I have the money, but I don't have the time to go there. So what's the point? What's the point of having all that if you can't enjoy it? And I believe that in today's world, if you want to start with nothing, with zero, you have to look at network marketing, because it's, I believe, one of the most serious businesses out there, that it can lead you into millions of dollars earnings with just investing a little bit, and without jeopardizing what you are currently doing as far as your profession.
Key point.
That is very, very important. Absolutely.
Yep. Well, and it's funny because I live up here in the Northwest, and you have all these boats that people own. They never take their boat out. Why? Because they can afford the boat, and they can afford $500 to $1,000 a month for the slip for the boat to sit in, And then they afford the maintenance on the boat even when it sits, but they do not have the time to go out and enjoy their boat. And I can't tell you how often we see that. So, this phenomena we call network marketing or home-based business, MLM, whatever you want to call it, direct sales. This is not geared. A lot of people think this is geared for broke people. This is geared for anybody that just wants to change their circumstances, whether it's lack of money, lack of time, or lack of money and time. And there's a lot of people in both of those situations. There are people out there working themselves to death in 2 and 3 minimum wage or just above minimum wage jobs and getting nowhere. So what do they think they can do? They think, well, I'll go out and protest for $15 an hour. What does a business do? They move to robots because the business owner cannot afford all of the hidden costs. People think, oh, it's only $15 an hour. That's only $5 an hour more than they're paying me now. Why can't they cough that up? What people don't understand is employers are taxed to death behind the scenes. There's payroll taxes, there's federal taxes, there's state taxes, there's L&I taxes. There, as you know, I mean, it is terrible. And so I tell people that say that to me. Well, I deserve $15 an hour. Well, first of all, what makes you think you deserve $15 an hour? Second of all, if you think you deserve more, then why don't you become more? Your boss, you're telling me your boss is not going to allow you to become more. So why don't you set out on your own and become more? You don't have to come up with $250,000 or $500,000 or $1 million like your boss did to start his or her business. I can get you started for $300, $500, $1,000, whatever it is, and you can build a home-based business. Just leave your attitude behind, keep your heart open, keep your mind open, and you can be successful. That's the bottom line. You just have to have a willingness to want to do that. And home-based business will do that.
There's one more thing that I really want to stress out here, Ruth, is that people are, in my opinion, they're the most powerful in the morning. They wake up in the morning, they're ready to go, they are fresh, they're just, had a great coffee, great breakfast, and they are like, their mind is clear because they just woke up from the night's sleep. And what do they do with all that energy? What do they do with all that willingness to conquer the world? They're ready to face the world, to go out there and to do great things. What do? They go to have a job. They use all of that energy for somebody else. I mean, that to me,
that's true.
I don't want to use the words, but it's a waste of somebody's life.
It's a waste of potential.
Absolutely, because 40-40 plan does not work anymore.
Right.
And it's not that it doesn't work because it doesn't work. It's because we are entering the era of different things used for different purposes.
Yep.
And if we are having phones in our communities, as we all do, what's going on? People don't communicate anymore as they used to. They do differently. As far as the jobs, now the employer is forced to eliminate the workforce to a minimum for obvious reasons, for him to be able to bid on the jobs, to be on the lower prices, so he can make the money by leveraging your time and your efforts and your knowledge to the fact that they have to finish this task, whatever the project is. So now when you look at it, okay, and that's how the world works. We're not going to change it. By all means, that's okay. But now if somebody's offering you something that you can change your way of living without altering and without interfering and without changing anything, what you do, you can absolutely do something more, something that it can change your life without interrupting that by starting with little. So you can do what you do, but you can do something else, and it's not a lot more.
Right.
That in the long run can change your life forever.
That's right.
So you are willing to give 40 years of your life for something called pension, for something that they're trying to take away today. It's a fact that the employers and big companies are looking into the ways how to eliminate pensions, period. So let's talk about the medical now. What are you going to do there? Never mind you buying it on your own. So it is mandatory, I believe, mandatory for everybody. And I don't care if you're a doctor, if you are, well, maybe a brain surgeon, because those are specific professions that they are required at the certain times for the certain reasons. But every other job that it's in six figures, it has its own weight. Whether you are senior vice president, you will not be able to go away for the certain time or use 2-3 months of vacation for you, because the employer is going to say like, no, you can't do that. So if you are making $200,000, you're going to have a price to pay, you know, versus somebody that is making $50,000 who is expendable and they can be replaced at any time. So guys, but there is a great news right now, because we're not going to give you a greater detail right now, but within the next 27 minutes, Ruth, if you can actually give us the information where and how to get onto the new another call where we can get specific details as to how to make this business your life savings and how it can change your life.
Absolutely. Every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or Daylight Time, I do a live webinar, and that is held at www.wgninfo.com. That's www.wgninfo.com. And we go through all the particulars of why this company pays so good and how it pays, how you can get started for as little as $320 and some change, how you can get started cheaper than that if you absolutely have to, actually how you can start for free. You know, we have people in my group. I know I'm just going to give a shout out to Ernest. He's a great guy at the Voice Wireless. Due to some circumstances in his life, he just didn't have the cash to get started. He came on for free, and he just started telling people about what we have. And he was able to upgrade with the money that he made. So folks, you really don't even have to have money to get started here tonight. There is a tsunami coming. It is a big tsunami. That, you see it on Tony's wrist there. You see it on my wrist right here. It's called a helo. Say hello to helo, because helo is going to change your life. Helo is a real-time health monitoring device. We are partnered with a 150-year-old company that's worth $50 billion. And later this year, we are releasing the first and only non-invasive blood sugar monitor. If that doesn't trip your trigger, we need to find you and shake you and wake you up. Because, Tony, this is the biggest thing in, I don't want to say a medical device breakthrough, because it's not, but it is. Think about anybody that you know that has diabetes, whether it's childhood diabetes, adult onset diabetes, whatever it is, type 1, type 2, diabetes is killing people. And there's really no cure for it. And the best thing that you can do is prevent it from ever happening to you. Now, there's no 100% chance you can prevent that. Some families, it's just prevalent. Everybody has it. But there are things that you can do in your life that Helo is going to help you do and monitor to make sure that you never get into the category to where you could fall prey to diabetes. But if you already are one of the 411 million people worldwide that have diabetes, we have an answer for you, so you don't always have to have a prick on your finger or those new patches that you wear on your stomach that have a little needle in them that constantly feed you insulin. I have some friends that are wearing those. I'm like, you mean every 4 days you have to move this patch on your stomach and it has a needle in it that goes under your skin and releases insulin when you eat? And they said yes. And I'm like, what kind of life is that?
Yeah.
How about we can allow you to not only try and not get diabetes, but we can help you test your blood sugar without having to use any needle at all. So if you want more information about that, if Tony invited you here tonight, get back with him. If somebody else invited you here tonight, get back with them. If they're brand new and they don't have the information, they know where to direct you to get the information, whether it's to Tony or another leader or even myself, or to one of our webinars. You know, they're easy to find. All you got to do is Google us. And, you know, Tony, I'm so excited not only to be working with you, but I cannot wait for the day, literally, once you told me about your sailboat, I cannot wait for the day that I can fly back there and we can go anywhere in the world you want to go, and I'm there with you when you buy the sailboat of your dreams.
Absolutely.
And, you know, think about what kind of a day that's going to be. And the day you can say, Ruth, I am no longer an engineer. I'm going to one of my homes in Virginia or New York or Croatia or Mexico or anywhere I want to go. And I'm going to say, gee, I think I'll fly down next week. And then we'll go out on the sailboat.
Absolutely. And that's a beautiful thing about it. I mean, that's something that it's doable, it's possible, it's happening to thousands of people worldwide. Mm-hmm. And guys, listen, it's very important for you to know the details and to see exactly the facts, why and how this is going to benefit you. So within the next 20 minutes, you can simply log into www.wgninfo.com. Correct, Ruth?
WGNinfo.com, yes.
.com. You will get all the necessary information for you to understand how to start, what to do, and how to benefit from it. So with that being said, guys, we really appreciate your time. We're looking forward to see you again. And if you're going to have to do this over and over again, by all means, just do it, because what happens is that you're going to get the device that is going to help you or your loved ones to monitor your health and prevent certain things that he has been doing it for quite some people worldwide. So Ruth, with that being said, I really appreciate your time. I thank you for coming on tonight. And for the next 20 minutes, you're gonna hear the Ruth again for more information. And we're gonna be doing this live again next Thursday, and it's gonna be every week. So we're gonna have a live other people for them to share their experience with you, so you can actually relate to that same effect probably that you're gonna be looking for. So Ruth, with that being said,
I'm going to tell people, you might want to follow this Google Hangout that Tony's doing every week, because Tony hit on one of my passions tonight that I didn't get a chance to talk about because we had other things to talk about. But I'm just going to give you some clues. I'm very, very, very good at a few things in my life. And something that Tony told you tonight that can change your life is one of my passions, and I do it just about every night. And it's the last 15 minutes before you're falling asleep that is the most crucial and most important to where your life is going to head. And Tony and I think, are going to talk about that on a Google Hangout, whether it's one that we do with WGN or a separate one. I want you guys, I'm going to kind of keep you in the dark about that, because I want you to follow us and make sure you get on that. I've done trainings on it before, but it's extremely powerful. So Tony, thank you so much. Have a great night. We'll see you on the flip side.
Absolutely. Good night, everybody.